Welcome everyone, I'm Ben Coleman, one of your hosts for the Florida Aviation Network. We're coming to you live, broadcasting from the Florida Aviation Museum here at the Sun and Fun Complex in the Aerospace Discovery campus, if you will. And they are at the 44th Annual Sun and Fun. Always a pleasure to have all the folks coming here for the convention. Very much an international convention, as we must always remember. And we're here to talk about aviation safety, and to talk about things that are currently happening and things that are coming to happen. And speaking of the coming, we have Mr. Brian Purdy. Brian,
Sir.
Always good to see you, Brian. And you have something to do with Switchblade.
Well, that's one of the things, but yeah, I'm buying one. I figured my evaluation, it was the best route to go, so I'll talk about it as much as you want.
Okay, well, we got about 28 minutes of nothing but action-packed excitement here talking about the Switchblade. And for those who are familiar with the Switchblade, give us a little spiel about what is a Switchblade.
Well, not like it sounds, it's not a knife, but it will cut through the air. It is basically a high-performance three-wheel vehicle on the ground that converts to a two-place light aircraft in the air. Still legally requiring airfield of some sort to take off and land, but otherwise 100 miles an hour on the ground, 160 up to 200 in the air.
Well, Brandon, almost sounds like this is going to be a flying car. I mean, flying car, what a concept. I mean, is this new?
Oh, actually, Sam's been working on it for like 10 years.
No, I mean the flying car
Oh,
concept.
no, they've been, ever since there's been an airplane and the car, they've been trying to figure out how to have them both have one thing do both. And I think we finally got a design that, not that others haven't done it, but they just haven't caught on as far as the appeal and the cost. And I think we've got a design now that you wouldn't be embarrassed to see driving down the road, and you wouldn't expect somebody to say, get that thing out of the air. So we're coming along quite a bit. I'm giving a couple of presentations on what I call the transportation transformation, where we're integrating aircraft, other modes of transportation, and actually go over the differentiation between a flying car, a roadable aircraft, and what I consider the Samson Switchblade, which is billed as a flying sports car, into the high performance area of a multi-mode vehicle that is like the next generation of roadable aircraft.
And Brian, you mentioned the term Sam, and affectionately Sam and Martha Boesfield. Sam, known him for years. He and Martha, I met them at, I believe, Reno Air Races the first time. And they explained to me what was going on, and it's, I'm watching it from a distance, because once we throw the switch, I've given them some safety input from my background, and I'm hoping to be a little bit more familiar with the airplane, car, vehicle. It's actually a vehicle. It is a vehicle.
Yes.
And as far as the transportation transformation, I noticed a new logo.
Yep.
And you were sporting the Samson logo for quite a while.
Yep.
And now you have your own logo. And what's the differentiation between what you're doing and what Sam and Martha are doing?
Well, I'm promoting the Switchblade because I figure that's the best, but I don't want to limit myself to looking like I'm only for them. I'm looking for the technology metamorphosis, as it were. And I chose the name Switchblade just in honor of the Samson Switchblade, because it being possibly the first one that meets all my criteria. And but I'm not compensated by anybody, so I try to give an independent view of things. And as we talked, I'm more of an analytical engineer, so I look at all the pros and cons, and I will display those in the presentations that I give, and people can make their own decisions. I'll not hesitate and say which one I made, but
well, you're the most expensive representative that Sam and Martha have, I think, for the Switchblade, because as I mentioned in our intro, the most valuable time we have is time. And there's no price that you can put on that. And for the hours and dedication that you have given this project, If you were to tabulate it up, we would all be millionaires, I'm sure, at this point. But you're a true spokesman and an advocate, and serial number 63? I think
That's what they're telling me.
Okay,
60.
and is this going to be an owner-builder?
Yes.
Assist program,
Yes,
factory
yeah.
assist?
I could have had the fully built one, which would come under their limited edition, which they're going to have 200 of, but you're looking at a potentially $500,000 investment for that, and that's one that they would build otherwise. I wanted the experience to build it myself.
Okay, and you just mentioned five, is that with 5 zeros behind it?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, that's a pretty substantial investment.
That
however,
is true. Yeah.
However, it is all relative. It's just money.
Yeah.
They make more of it every day, I think. Don't they?
And like I said, that is the limited edition. The base model includes at $140,000 currently priced.
Okay,
is,
now you're talking more reasonable. Okay.
Yeah, includes everything except the paint job. It includes the 3-week builder assist program. So that's something that I really needed, because otherwise you'd be sitting in the garage in its boxes as opposed to taking 3 weeks and dedicate to it.
Well, but you being an engineer, I'm sure it's going to be perfect.
I have that tendency.
Okay, yeah. I can see that in you. And everything that you do is really spot on. You're very punctual. You've come here to talk to us for what?
This is the 3rd year?
I was going to say 4, at least 4.
And I didn't start until I actually bought mine. So.
Okay. But you're dedicated, you're punctual, you're always, how would I say, you're the consummate type of individual that you want to have on a new concept a vehicle like this. And I wish Sam and Martha had about 40 more of you, but there will be more as I think the benchmarks are met.
Yes.
And what benchmarks are we at right now with the design?
They're working on the tail boom function right now. They've already had the swing wings working. They're still working on the different parts of the carbon fiber chassis, the metal frame for the engine mount. They've got their Samson engine. I think they're putting it into their ground test vehicle. They will run that on a racetrack for a while to, make sure everything is good, doing well for the ground operations. We got the molds that's well been put in use. They had the prototype as far as it was at Oshkosh last year. Excuse me. That very spacious on the inside, a nice little cargo area up front. Unusable probably for flight because of center of gravity issues, but I look at it this way: you and your wife or girlfriend fly someplace. Okay, we're going to go there for the weekend. You land, then go to the grocery store, and then drive the rest of the way. So you don't need to take all your groceries with you. And so it, could be pleasure like that. It could be business. Okay, I've got a client 300 miles away. I don't want to drive on the road, and it'll be more expensive to fly commercial or regional and then deal with a rental car. This way, hey, I'll just go straight. There's a little airport nearby. I'll land there.
So integrating this into the society is going to be a pretty interesting task as far as the way that we get the mindset of people of how are we going to generate the. And my role in this is the safety aspect of. We were just talking about at 16, most states allow. That's the age 16 for getting a driver's license.
Yes.
It's kind of scary back when I was 16, driving, thinking I could be driving around in a Switchblade. I can think of a lot of fun, a lot of good parties I could go to in a Switchblade. How are we going to protect us from ourselves in this aircraft? I'm sorry, this vehicle.
Okay. Good lock on it, I guess. One of the things we did mention was, and I read in one of Sam's emails somewhere that they were going to have like a biometric lock for actually deploying the wings. So either a code or a biometric, something that only the driver should have. That way, if it's stolen or joyride, at least it's not going to be a joy flight and kill more people than whoever stole it.
Yeah.
So it's and that kind of investment, you definitely want something to prevent it going off on its own.
You'll have some controls put into place, and
yeah.
I know talking to Sam and Martha, the crashworthiness was very much part of their consideration for this design. And even though we would like to think in a perfect world we're never going to have an accident, we're never going to have a crash in the aircraft, but that's just not reality. So we need to plan on minimizing the amount of damage to the cargo, which is us. And I do think that there's been so many advancements in our technological world to keep the damages and the injuries to a minimum. And Sam and I spoke at length about this, and a very, very passionate man, very much attention to detail. Talk about an engineer. He is an engineer, mechanical engineer, aerodynamic engineer, and very, very passionate about this project. The kit concept, and explain to us a little bit about the swing wing. I do know there's a big knuckle, a big hinge.
Yeah, it's actually one of the most amazing things he's come up with. It is patented, I believe now, but it was a way to have all the stresses and the forces, rather than having a big center gear, as it were, that would also shorten the available wingspan and capability. They came up with this design, and it transitions like less than a minute for it to deploy or stow. I'm glad Sam came up with that.
Yeah, and it looks like a pretty substantial casting, and the hydraulics, I'm sure that, is it hydraulic or electrically?
Electric screw right now, I believe.
Okay, so it's a worm screw that drives it out. And as far as I know that I'm kind of kneeling on one of the things that I was talking about, where are we going to put the fuel tank of this thing? And Sam and I, we talked about it needs to be on the center of gravity.
Yeah.
And ideally, I'm just talking right now. I said, let's put a NASCAR fuel bladder in the center on the belly. Okay, I don't know where we actually wound up with it, because it was there or right behind the passenger compartment. But
I'm not totally sure where it is. I want to say it's like almost under the engine compartment. But that sort of leads into my idea. If I'm by myself, I'm going to get a turtle pack and put an extra 30 gallons in. So that's one of the things I need to make sure when I build mine I can tie in. But even 30 gallons, you're looking 450 mile range. So
what is the burn?
Right now they're saying 9 gallons an hour in the air and 35 to 40 miles an hour miles per gallon on the ground. And
this is a Class A finish, sports car style. I know Sam boasts the performance similar to that as the Jaguar
XK8 on the slalom, yes. But,
that's exciting. And they couldn't. I saw them trying to flip the vehicle. It really is. It is pretty stable. I mean, the way the suspension is all set up.
Sometimes you hope your fear overcomes your desire to push the limits.
And as far as the tires, and we do want to thank Garnet Tread for helping sponsor our green room here for the group. But the tires on the machine, I believe Sam has indicated that they will have Garnet Tread in the tires. Yes,
I was just informed this morning that it's the plan to be standard on some of the further later on developed ones. So they're more cold weather, off-road type capable. Otherwise, and they're still available for the standard edition. Say, I'm going to go fly north, let us put the other tires on. But I think, it's pretty much standard automobile type size engine or tires, so that makes the cost a little bit less for normal.
And the Garnet Tread, this is more to just give it more resilience, more grip, ice and snow, traction.
Almost like having studs, but probably not as deep.
Yeah, and it's really a really interesting concept. Where else is this going to go as far as, is this just local, statewide, or international?
Well, the plan's international. We've actually got some reservations throughout the world. And it all is going to really depend upon the laws in those particular countries on what they'll allow, whether they'll allow an experimental aircraft to be pre-built and sent over there. Does it have to be built in their country? Still have to go by their aviation rules to be certified in their country. The initial design is going to be able to have a driver seat either on left or right, so you could is ready to travel. And
well, it's got dual flight controls.
Yep.
So I would think that it would be really easy to transition. So, and I'm going to put you on the spot here as far as the. I know you're not Sam, and you're not a spokesman for the company, but you've worked a lot with Switchblade, Samson Switchblade. But is there a concept of offering a non-flying car?
I've seen that referenced, and of course, one of Sam's motivations was green, being more efficient, and it being a nice lightweight vehicle, and a 3-wheel motorcycle at that. You take away the extra weight of the wings and stuff, you could have a really efficient ground transportation, potentially even an electric. It's wide open. So when you're trading 1 pound for 1 pound, it's good.
And the propulsion, we talked earlier about the system and the Modus Sam has done so much to the engine that it's basically become a Samson engine. Engine.
Yeah, V4, 160 horsepower normal, turbocharger, take it up to 190. Water cooled. So since it's meant for the ground, working in the hot weather, you need a radiator.
And the avionics package I know that he was talking about was just state of the art.
Yeah. Glass cockpit. I'm going to have to get used to that, but yes, it's something that I'm looking forward to. I'm going to learn a lot, I'm sure, and we'll go.
And what's more interesting, you mentioned the demo team, Switchblade Demonstration Inc. is your company name.
Yeah.
Simulators. I mean, that's you're going to be able to accomplish an awful lot in a ground-based simulator that you can take with you to Sun and Fun.
Yes.
And give folks the experience of flying the machine. And actually, one thing that I was talking to Sam about is making it a requirement. I mean, before anybody flies this machine, they have to get a simulator checked out.
Well, part of the Builder Assist program is supposed to include, I think, like 5 hours flight time and training in the new aircraft, and part of that will be utilizing their simulator based on the X-plane that they've got with the initial aerodynamic data and such.
Well, so. Talk to me a little bit about the finish. I mean, I'm sure you already have in your mind what yours is going to look like, serial number 63.
Yeah.
Have you picked out an N number yet? Reserved your N number?
No, I have not.
Oh, Brian.
Well,
we got to come up with a real neat.
I need to do that.
Bravo Papa. Is it going to be a Bravo Papa? A little vanity number, maybe?
Well, if I'm going to pick out one, it probably would be. I just got to figure out what direction it wants to go. But of course, it's going to have that experimental such and such talking first. But
well, and I know that whoever has the pocketbook to go to the registry and reserve Sierra Bravo, there's going to be an awful lot of Sierra Bravos out there for Switchblade.
Yeah.
So if I did I just let the cat out of the bag? I don't know, maybe.
No,
so for all you folks that like to gobble up stuff, Sierra Bravo, as a matter of fact, I think at the next break, I'm going to go and reserve all the Sierra Bravos. Yeah.
Okay.
Brian, you have some training that you're going to be putting on here at Sun and Fun, and hopefully some of the folks that are watching this live streaming are going to be here later on in the week. What are the times of your sessions?
Okay, I actually have my first one today at noon over in the Aerospace building. Another one on the same topic of flying cars, where are we today, on Friday, another one on Sunday. And then on Wednesday and Saturday, we'll have ones that are dedicated to the Switchblade, flying sports cars nearing takeoff, which will be an update of the current status of the Samson Switchblade.
Well, that's some of the prime times. I mean, Saturday is going to be the big day here. Usually it always is. And that's probably going to be very well attended. And when you say across the street at the Academy, what, for those who aren't familiar with the campus here?
Well, I don't know the detail. The
Central Florida Aerospace Academy?
Yeah, that's it.
At the Aerospace Discovery Complex.
Okay, yes.
Coming to you out of the Florida Aviation Museum
Yes.
on the Sun and Fun Complex at Lake Linda Regional Airport.
Yes.
My goodness. There's so many different ways to, and it can almost be overwhelming for someone who's never been to this event how do I get there? It's really, really easy to get here. Traffic sometimes can be a bit testy, but for the most part it's well marked, and it's parking is ample parking. The weather, I understand, Tammy told me that the weather is going to be perfect this week, with no squalls, no thunderstorms, no high winds, no tornadic or hurricane activity. We did have a kind of a nasty blow here a couple of years back. You remember that one?
I heard about it. I wasn't here for it.
Oh, you missed it. It was a doozy. But storm ready. We have locations all throughout the location here.
Oh, wow.
All the wind ratings for the buildings. As a matter of fact, this building would be very, very, very crowded if we got a tornado warning come up. But and that's the other thing about the safety aspect, and particularly with the Switchblade, is we know so much about how people get hurt in vehicles. And Sam and Martha have really impressed me, because that's not just things that are on a pamphlet or in a book. They're putting it to good use. They're building it into this vehicle, and it's just exciting to know that this new mode of transportation could kind of revolutionize how we think about traveling from point A to B.
Oh yeah, and on the safety aspect, one of the other future owners brought this up. You know, so many of us have the idea of get home-itis. You know, we're up flying, we want to get there. We see the weather, but we say, okay, we have a choice of trying to fly through it or landing and waiting for it to pass. The nice thing with the Switchblade, well, let's go for the safe side. I'll go ahead and land, I can land there. And, I'll just drive onto the other side of the weather and then continue and fly off that way. That way you're not being stuck anywhere, and nobody likes being stuck anywhere.
No, and it gives you options.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, and that's one thing about aviation is you always have options. Always give yourself a way out.
Yeah.
And how many times you hear about a plane landing on the road?
Yeah.
Well, this would be a kind of a natural, wouldn't it? You just land on the road, fold your wings up, and I'm not going to deal with this thunderstorm. I'm going to drive, or I'm going to pull off to the side of the road, let it pass.
Yeah. And a nice thing, if worst comes to worst, we got a ballistic parachute to pull your butt out of the fire.
So the BRS is, you're going to be able to pull the red handle, and
I'm not sure of the actual design yet. I'm looking forward to it, but they're saying yes, regardless, it's going to let you down, and I think without destroying the aircraft.
Ooh,
so
I just thought about a good concept that wouldn't that make for a great ride? Just to, it's how they tether you and shoot you up in the air with like a bungee jump. You can just be in your Switchblade and pull the chute, and it'll drop you down. And I think Jack Mendez would. He's talking about wanting to do it.
Oh,
that's camera one there. I think what you'd find is there's a lot of people that would just jump at the opportunity. I know one guy. His first name is Larry. And I know that he would like to be one of the inaugural folks in the Switchblade. Larry might want to go for a ride with you in your Switchblade.
If he doesn't mind the weight, since I've, like I said, number 63, but I'm more than happy to give anybody a ride.
Well, we all have to have a reason to kind of hang around and stay alive. So that's one of my reasons is I want to live long enough to be able to go let you take me for a ride in your air. In your air car, airplane, Switchblade, what is it?
I'm partial to the multi-mode vehicle that actually Larry came up with, and I think it's the most appropriate.
Multimodal vehicle, okay. Well, I'm not going to call it a car. I like to call it a motorcycle. Because it's really technically a motorcycle. Sam and I had that conversation. That's the reason it has 3, not 4 wheels.
And actually, there are a lot of other reasons why you want to call it a vehicle versus an airplane. So we'll talk about those another time.
Oh, I feel the need for another interview at a future date. Maybe as it's closer to getting number 063 rolling.
If you want to wait that long.
Brian, thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining us
My
here.
pleasure.
And I'm sorry if I put you on the spot. Not really. I love putting you on the spot.
And I'm just,
because you take it so well.
and I'm happy being the very first interview of this week.
Oh, but that's good. We weren't going to say anything about that because we were going to be able to plug you right into the middle and make it seem like it was you've been here for a while.
Okay.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
And again, we're going to sign off for this interview and look forward to another exciting interview here in the Florida Air Museum with the Florida Aviation Network. In the clear, live and streaming to you over the internet. Ben Coleman, one of your hosts. We'll see you in the next interview.